morning, Charles. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. Doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I was lucky enough to be able to babysit the dog for a few days, so I got some fun walking the dog and playing with the dog and trying to stop the dog from chewing its tail off, and that was quite an adventure.
Oof, that sounds like a stressed dog.
Well, I think it might be allergy related. I gave her a little
Gotcha.
Benadryl, and that calmed things down. But I mean, tail was bleeding, and
Oof.
the dog wouldn't even let me put a damp towel on it. Like, she starts snapping at me, and so it was a little bit rough trying to even heal the dog. But the Benadryl kind of calmed her down. Sprayed a little apple cider vinegar mixture on the back of her, and that seemed to also kind of provide a little bit of relief. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's supposed to make them feel better, and they don't want to put their mouth on it, right? Is it like a combo?
Yeah. I think so. So it helped.
Well, that sounds delightful. But
it was
a good time.
Yeah, no, it was, and had a nice weekend. I think that you were a part of as well. Going out in downtown Orlando and doing the fundraiser for New Hope for Kids. And,
Yes, that was
drinking
a good
for
time.
a cause.
Yeah, boy, they had quite a haul of donated toys too. They did real well.
Yeah, I saw some Instagram posts, and it was phenomenal how much they got out of that. So
Yeah, I
it's
snuck
great.
a PS5 out. It was great. Hey, speaking of
yeah.
fundraisers, I've been watching the Pet Alliance's website. I want to get on board with their program of taking dogs out for a trip, but it looks like they haven't started that back up since they had the fire a couple months ago.
They didn't have that because of COVID. I mean, for a
Oh, that's
while
right.
too. They never restarted that yet, and I was anxious to do that too, because there's so many great restaurants in Sanford and dog
Winter
parks, and
Yeah.
and I was totally into that as well. If you hear of anything, let me know, because I definitely be on board for that too. That'd be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
me too, for sure. I want to borrow a dog and take it out for a date.
Not take it out to find a date.
Well, I mean, listen, if that happens too, then so be it.
Right. So what are you excited about recently? Or currently,
Well, yeah,
I should say.
this weekend was great. I mean, getting downtown and seeing some friends and contributing to the charity was fun. Then on Thursday of this week, today we're recording on Monday, and this Thursday I'm going to Chicago for 2 days. 2 nights. This will be my first ever trip to Chicago as a tourist. I've only been there for work before, so this will be my
Nice.
first time spending some time in the city and getting to do the sites. I bought a city pass, so going to go to, I think it covers like 5 different venues that are all included in the one cost of the pass.
Fantastic.
Which yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some cool stuff, getting some cool pictures. There's a Christmas market that I'm going to go visit, and seems like a great time of the year to this will be my last solo trip of the year for 2021, so I'm really looking forward to it.
And have you decided on the long underwear or the short underwear?
I'm going to go
made a
long.
decision?
I'm going to wear long underwear. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I got some good stuff that I got as a base layer for my first snowboarding trip a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember them being pretty comfortable even when I was indoors. So I'll wear those under my jeans and hope that it keeps me warm, but not too warm.
Yeah. I mean, these days they make, like really nice thin ones. It's not the
Yeah.
old school, kind of like a popcorn type of.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that
cotton
waffle. Knit
waffle.
cotton.
That's what. Yes.
I hated that stuff.
Yeah. They've got much better technology these days. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I should buy a pair of travel specific pants, like men's travel pants, or just wear jeans.
What are travel pants?
Well, basically they're made out of synthetics, so that they're both lighter and they're supposed to be cooler when it's hot and warmer when it's cool.
Okay.
And also if they get wet, they dry faster.
Do they make toast for you in the morning too? I mean, it sounds like it does everything.
I mean, ideally, yes. But
Nice.
yeah, I don't know if I should just. I like the look of jeans, and jeans are a pretty good, multi-use pant for various levels of formality and stuff like that. But I think I'm just gonna,
various levels of formality.
well, yeah. I mean, you can dress up jeans and you can dress down.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just more tickled by the choice of words you used than.
In fact, on the trip up, I'm probably going to wear them with an Oxford, dress shirt, and maybe even throw a tie on. Maybe they'll let me sit in the cockpit. I mean, it's Spirit, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, you were VIP in it on your last trip, and so who knows what they might actually let you, get in there and fly a little bit too. Who knows?
I mean, I'll be the only person wearing a tie who's not the pilot, so they should give me some status for that.
That's a bold assumption.
On Spirit, I'm not sure. I might be one of the only people wearing a shirt with buttons.
Oh wow! So that's great. That sounds like it's gonna be a fun trip for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Sounds good.
So, all right, so what about you? What's going on with you other than the fun stuff that we shared together and was mostly fun because I was there? What do you got going
on? Well, basically, I was just telling I was babysitting the dog, and that's going to be over today. So at this point, that's it. That's it for fun stuff for me, really. I think looking forward to doing some dancing, we're gonna go to the ballroom, do a little ballroom dancing. That's in a couple of weeks right now at this point.
Yep.
Where up in Daytona, and get a little instruction from one of our teachers. So I'm definitely looking forward to practicing that. We didn't really get a chance to do any kind of ballroom dancing this weekend, and I know we were preparing to do that. So that was a little disappointing. However, I am looking forward to, and I'll also have a private lesson this week as well.
Okay, nice.
With my instructor. So Nanette. So she's great. So we'll be working on that, and maybe a little foxtrot for New Year's Eve as well. So
definitely going to practice some of that on Wednesday is my lesson this week. So
excellent.
We'll probably try to. I want to keep going a little deeper on the East Coast swing because I enjoy it so much.
Yep.
But then foxtrot, and I may let her sprinkle in something of her choice that she thinks I'll be able to use on our party we're going to on the 18th.
Yeah,
like whatever she thinks I'll see the most of, and I'll want to dance to. I'll maybe rumba. I've only done that once, but it seemed okay.
Yeah.
And I need to get some Latin dancing into my mix because it's just. When you go to one of these dance parties at a ballroom dancing place, a ballroom, if you will, there's just so much Latin dance. Like half of it's Latin dancing, and I don't know how to do any of it.
Yeah. I liked the samba that she was teaching us last week or a couple weeks ago. The basic there. It was pretty easy. You'd have no problem too. Doing that, and it was a nice. It was fun. The basic was fun. So
okay. Yeah. How are you doing on your important decision about a hot tub at your place? Let's get into the real important stuff.
I actually, I've stalled on that because I start looking at, all right, I need to add some screen coverings to make it a little bit more private, and then the location I've kind of been going back and forth with. So I have not moved that decision forward at this point. I think I want to get somebody in to give me a little evaluation about what to do with the yard first. So we'll see. I mean, I will have some free cycles this week, and I'll look into the possibility of the hot tub.
Well, my vote location wise is close to a door, either the door to your bedroom or the door to your pool bathroom.
And I probably will, but I definitely want to be able to see the stars. So I don't want it covered. I want to be able to look up and look at the sky at night. So I mean,
you can still see a lot of. You don't need to be able. You don't need to. I mean, you're not going to ever look straight up.
I will. I've done it before. I will be looking straight up. So. That's fair. I'll need.
But you can see a lot of sky from all of your patio.
Yeah, that's true. I'll think about it.
All right. Well, I look forward to that because I've been completely shut down on my idea of trying to get a hot tub for my place. So I have started looking at outdoor furniture though. I really like the idea of building like an outdoor room like one of those fancy rooms that you see like the king stays in when his army is at war, and he's got like the really fancy tent with the really fancy stuff inside. That's basically what I'm going to go for outside of my my tiny house.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's good to
Okay, so I'm sure the people want their material, so we should give them what they want.
Absolutely. I'm sure they're begging for it at this point and tired of hearing about our plans for hot tubs and King's Thrones. So I think we should kind of get into a little bit of the next chapter 1, where Glover talks about the integrated male and the nice guy paradigm. I think it would be, it's kind of the crux of the book, and I think really the foundation of where everything else about that is in the book, where that it builds off of that,
right?
These things. So I think this is important for us to really, to go through.
Okay. Well, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah. So Glover talks about the opposite of a nice guy, which is the integrated male. And basically what that means is the purpose of the book really is to take people from being a nice guy to being an integrated male. And it's not about being a jerk or being a chauvinist pig or, just, a jerk, basically. So
yeah,
it's really, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I think that's a common misconception that, if you hear the phrase nice guy and you don't do any kind of deep dive into what he actually means by it, the assumption could be, oh, so you're saying I have to be less nice.
Right.
And the opposite of a nice guy is not a not nice guy. It's not a jerk, like you said. The opposite of a nice guy, in the way he uses the term, is a real guy, or the integrated male, as he says. It's about being real. It's not about being not nice.
And part of that being real is being having the courage to be real throughout, right? Not putting on a front, which a lot of nice guys do. It's about having the courage to be, this is who I am, putting it out there in the world so that you really know what you're getting. There's no false advertising with an integrated male. With a not nice guy, the opposite of a nice guy, you're really seeing somebody who is authentic, true to themselves, his power, the assertiveness, courage, and is okay with showing imperfections and okay with showing that he makes mistakes and that he's not perfect and that he is human, and being okay with that. Instead of trying to hide all of that by doing certain things, presenting in a certain way that is not authentic. That's where nice guys fall short, is that they are presenting something that is false, that is not who they really are. And the opposite of that is the integrated male.
Yeah. And there's a lot of flavors of that nice guy mentality. It's really, it can be a lot of different guys that present a lot of different behaviors. It's not just about an attitude of, boy, I sure hope people say that I'm nice when I'm not around.
Right.
It could be, I sure wish people say I'm fill in the blank when I'm not around. And that could be perfect, I'm flawless, I'm strong, I'm masculine. Really fill in the blank with anything that you feel like people have to think that I'm X, or they're not going to accept me and love me. Exactly.
Yeah. And the other issue with a typical nice guy is that a lot of times, Glover talks about the concept of a paradigm, which is basically, your roadmap for the way you think life should go. Right.
Yeah.
And so the nice guy paradigm, they talk about, that you should have a problem-free life. Right. And that and if you do everything to support other people and to please other people, that you're going to have this problem-free life, which is completely ridiculous and unrealistic. But whenever that thought, that roadmap is challenged, nice guys have a really tough time accepting that what they believe is wrong. And even when it's not working for them, even when they're constantly frustrated because they're doing all of these things for other people, or to kind of, show that they're, a perfect person, and they're not getting the love and acceptance that they want, and end up, actually becoming enraged. They can become very angry and resentful and bitter. And on the one hand, say they, for example, they love women, but then can be very, very rageful towards them when they're not getting what they want.
Yeah.
And the other issue is that they don't express what they want. They don't want to seem needy. They don't, because they're afraid to express their needs. Right. And so, they really get dependent on, receiving support and acceptance from other people.
Right. But not willing to ask for it in an open and honest way. And, in our next episode, we're going to cover, the making of a nice guy and get into a lot of where this paradigm comes from. But the bottom line is, it's when you come up with a plan for how you are supposed to engage the world when you're 2 or 3 years old, what are the odds you're going to get it right? Right.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to kids that age. They're dumb. They're stupid. They don't know nothing. And I'm speaking as somebody who used to be one of them.
Right.
And it's like, your brain forms all these ideas about the way the world is, the way the world works, the way you're supposed to interact with the world, the way you're supposed to get your needs met. And you have so little information, and you're able to process very little of the information that you do have in a useful way. And you still you form these patterns of what your personality is going to be and what your drives are going to be for the rest of your life at this very young age. So of course you're going to get some of this stuff wrong in a huge way.
Yeah. So the other issue is that because this has been going on for so long, in terms of, the paradigm has been built and kind of infused into so many nice guys. It's not like this is a new phenomenon. This has been going on for a couple of generations. So, a lot of times that paradigm that's built as a child is reinforced by men who are nice guys, by society, who has kind of programmed, us to behave in those ways, to be pleasing and not express what our needs are, or that our needs aren't that important. So to really break through and change that paradigm, or consider that another paradigm might exist even, is even more challenging, because it's, where do you get that from at this point?
Right.
Unless you're doing your own self-reflection and you happen to find this book, for example. And
yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, the nice guy paradigm can lead you into a moderately successful life in both personal and professional speaking. It can give you some things, it can open some doors, but the effort that it takes to maintain it, both personally and professionally, and ultimately the end results that you end up with, are not fulfilling. So It's like you get enough success that tells you, yeah, go ahead and stay the course, until one aspect of your life blows up, and then you feel miserable because you've been living on these faulty assumptions,
and all your eggs are in that basket. Your eggs, when it comes to self-esteem, your worth, your value, are now dependent on pleasing that boss or pleasing that other person.
Right.
And then it's, if that's your source of happiness and that goes away, or you're not perfect with that in some way.
Right.
Yeah. Then the fit hits the shan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, imagine, structuring your whole life to, in an effort to please your wife or please your boss. And then one or both of them end up cutting you loose and say, I'm getting rid of you because you're really not pleasing me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough, right? That's a hard L to take.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, what was great about the concept of this book is, yes, it's targeting men, it's targeting nice guys and how to handle that. But in the end, it really is a book about personal development. It's about figuring out what makes you happy and how to achieve that happiness on your own rather than looking for it from external sources and getting external validation. And that makes you a little bit more independent and a little bit more bulletproof when it comes to your relationships, and that means relationships with people and dealing with the world.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to break any pattern. I mean, patterns are patterns because, we follow them for so long and we get convinced that, okay, this is the way the world's supposed to be, and this is the way I'm supposed to interact with it. And it's risky to let that go and say, all right, I'm going to try something different.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to make people happy, I'm just going to be who I actually am. And some people will like that, and some people will pull away from that.
It gets very uncomfortable when you start changing things, especially if it's something new that hasn't been, validated or proven by yourself, and you're just kind of trying something. A lot of times, unless you're really miserable, you hit rock bottom in some way, a lot of times you're never going to want to take that risk because things are, for the most part, probably working and they're okay. They're just not great, but I also wanted to kind of just throw a picture of the book so people, can see what the cover looks like if they want to get it, and mention that throughout the book, there are a number of breaking free activities that we're not going to go into, but those are more of the how-tos and the action items that Glover sprinkles in throughout the book, which are definitely helpful, and they will make you uncomfortable as well if you're a recovering nice guy.
Yeah, the other thing that makes you uncomfortable is the first time I read this book, and I got a lot out of it. It was probably about 4 years ago. You won't get the most possible out of the book by just reading it by yourself and trying to make these changes alone. The way you get the most out of this book is to go through it with somebody that is also open to the ideas in it. And that can be, a men's group, that can be your therapist, that can be a friend. You'll get a lot more though if you're reading it and going through it with somebody who you're able to bounce ideas off of and work through the exercises and work through the concepts to say, hey, does this sound like something that makes sense to you?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. That being said, I think this is a good spot maybe to wrap up chapter 1 and get ready for the next chapter, where we talk a little bit more about the making of a nice guy and how that comes to be, and why that's so prevalent these days in our society.
Yeah, 100%. So it's a good it's a good chapter 1. I mean, this book has an introduction, and then it's got the first chapter goes through some specific case studies where Dr. Glover tells some stories of his patients that he's dealt with, and there are all sorts of different kinds of nice guys with different patterns, but they all share that thing in common, the idea that if they're good enough, then they get the prize for being good enough is an easy life.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever good enough to get an easy life because life's not easy.
Of course. And it was great to see those various examples because I was able to identify with at least some aspect in almost all of them and go, hey, this doesn't exactly apply to me, but I see this part and I see that part, and okay. And it really started to hit home. And then that's where I realized that how much of a nice guy I am or trying to recover from, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're not trying to, through this podcast, we're not trying to be a substitute for his book. You should definitely buy the book. It's available electronically, it's available in hardcover, and it's a great audiobook. Dr. Glover narrates it himself, and he does a pretty good job. So I've listened to the audiobook several times, and I recommend that method of book consumption almost over all others because it's so great. You can do it while you're driving, and I drive a lot.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate you taking the lead on this chapter and getting us through it from point to point. And we'll come back next week and I'll take the lead and we'll go through chapter 2.
Sounds great. Have a good week, Charles.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.